Hi folks, and welcome to the channel in which I talk about wildlife filming, photography and sound recording. Now today I'm in a local forest to film with red squirrel. Now this is a site that other photographers have used and they have installed a nut feeder. These are a great way to start to film and photograph red squirrels, because generally these feeders are designed for only squirrels to be able to access. They can lift the lid and get into the nuts, and they're quite cheap. You can buy them online, they're readily available, and by putting a few hazelnuts into them in the shells, then you can start that photography process. Because if you know that you've got red squirrels in an area, then simply site one of these feeders on a tree, place it about 4 feet off the ground. That stops things like badgers and foxes getting up and damaging the feeder. And then over a period of time you can then monitor to see whether the nuts are being taken, and even use a trail cam to see if the squirrels are coming in. That will give you a great indication as to what time the squirrels are coming in as well. Now generally red squirrels are more active early in the morning and quite often late in the afternoon as well, but they will come out any time throughout the day. It just depends on whether they're hungry or not. Now as you can see, I'm just sat in the open environment. You don't need a hide for filming red squirrels or photographing them. Generally, if you place your food in the location several meters, I mean they'll come as close as sort of 4 to 5 meters to you, and then just set up your equipment and then just sit still in the environment, just sit waiting. Now of course a hide does keep the weather off you, but it also can be a bit of a hindrance, because the red squirrel will approach most often on the floor, but can also sort of scamper through the trees. And being able to really scan the whole of the environment is really the way to go, because a hide can be quite restrictive sometimes. You're only often able to see what's in front of you, and a squirrel could be sat in a tree for quite some time, really close to you, just watching and taking in the environment and whether there's a threat, and so being able to scan and look around the environment freely like I am is the way to go there. Now I am in muted colours, but it's not totally necessary to be all camoed up. Just muted colours like I am is a good way. Now hazelnuts are a great food to put out for red squirrels. There's enough calorific value in just 6 nuts to keep a squirrel healthy for the day, so they're not really needing a lot of them. Also, they're a natural food here in the UK. We do have hazel trees that produce nuts, and the squirrels will feed on them, so it's a natural thing to introduce to the environment, to take photographs of them eating them. The squirrels will on finding a hazelnut will roll it around in their hands and in their mouth, and what they're looking for is imperfections in the shell. And if they find something like a crack, for example, then they'll tend to open that shell and then eat the nut straight away, because they're aware they know if they bury that nut, the water will get in and then just ruin the nut inside, and so effectively they'll just be throwing away a very valuable food source. So they're looking for perfect shells, and then when they find one, then they'll quite often scamper off and just bury that, cache that for later, and then come back and go through that process again, just going through to find the ones that are slightly imperfect at that time. Now if you introduce just a sort of a small handful of nuts into the feeder, keeping a mental note of how many you put in, then you're able to have an idea of how many has been taken, and you know, form a picture as to how many squirrels might be coming into the site. I mean, if it's empty every day and you put sort of a good handful in, then you know you've got more than one squirrel coming in. At last, got one coming. That's a good idea to start off as a, you know, the lens in the wide angle sort of setting. That way you're able to pick up the squirrel when it enters the environment, and then zoom in. And because if you start off zoomed out, then it can be a real hard job trying to find it and then track it. If a squirrel senses danger, quite often what it'll do is run straight to a tree and then go up the tree and sit on next to the trunk on a branch, and then sit for a while just scanning the area. Now, the reason it goes close to the trunk is because if something approaches it, say it's a buzzard or something like that, and then the squirrel simply is easy to just go round the other side of the trunk. It's a great thing, as well as the nut feeder, to also put, you know, piles of nuts in certain places where you want to get, you know, a photograph. And the way to do that is to just place the sort of the nuts just out of sight of the camera. Now, red squirrels like, when they pick up a hazelnut or a nut, they like to climb up onto a sort of a vantage point. And so if you have something like a tree stump and then you've put nuts on that, then what it'll do is it'll get to the highest point on that stump and then sit and eat it, looking around the environment for any danger. And so that way we're able to get a nice looking shot without a pile of nuts at the side of it. If you've enjoyed the film, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you already haven't. I really do appreciate comments and will respond to them when I get them. And thank you for watching. All the best to you, and bye for now.